Okay, so I've been thinking about doing an episode or some sort of video for themediaspeaks.com for a while now on this subject. And what I want to talk about today is the economy of the future. This is something I spend a lot of time thinking about. Uh, a lot of people, conservatives and libertarians, are hardcore believers in a free market economy. And I think the difference between libertarians and conservatives when they say they believe in a free market economy is that conservatives believe that they have a free market economy right now. Whereas libertarians look at it as much, much more of a controlled market. Some would say not a free market at all. I still think that it's a free market, but it's definitely a very, very controlled free market, if that makes any sense and isn't a complete contradiction of itself. But I do believe in free market economics. I do not believe that we have that 100% in full fruition right now. And I think that in the future, moving forward, there's a lot of things already happening with digital technology that I think are going to impact this, already are impacting it, and are really giving us a little bit of keyholes to peek through and see what the economy of the future might look like. Now, I believe that it'll be a free market economy, and there's a few things that I see kind of trending towards what we're going to have in the future that I think that we can look at these things and how they're going to blend together, how they're affecting other markets already, and really, really get a clear picture of the future economy. So some of the things that I want to talk about that are literally changing the economy and the way that it functions as we speak. The first one, the big one that got my mind rolling on this is YouTube. So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about how YouTube is affecting the economy, how money is made and transacted through YouTube and Google AdSense, and we'll get into that. And a few of the other things that I think are already doing this and will in the future, the music industry, how music has been changed by iTunes and things like that from the old system. Same things with movies and television and things like Netflix and Hulu. How just general retail has been completely changed by this, by companies like Amazon and eBay, and how 3D printers are really, really going to play into this idea of what I consider a free market in the future. So let's just dive in with how I got started on this. Sorry if I'm coughing a lot. When we do the normal shows, there's like four of us. I can sneak it in there and you don't notice as much. But the way that YouTube works monetarily is, I'm sure a lot of people have noticed this now, that when you watch a video, it used to not have this at all, but in the past probably 3, 4, maybe 5 years, they've introduced the advertisements where an ad either pops up at the bottom, a little rectangle, while the video is playing. That's called the in-stream ad. And then they have the second kind, which I forget what it's called, a pre-roll ad, I believe, where it comes up before the video, and it usually says in the bottom, skip after 5 seconds. Now, the numbers change on this and stuff, and if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but the way that it basically works is if you watch a video, and that little ad pops up at the bottom that just kind of overlays on top of the playing video, every time that that ad plays, or pops up at the bottom, from a new IP address, that person who put up and uploaded that video gets a third of a penny, which comes out, I believe, to 1 million clicks is about $3,000. Now, when you do those pre-roll ads, they're a little bit sketchy because my understanding is that it's completely based on how long somebody watches, which most people click skip after 5 seconds, and I believe you don't get anything from that. And then if they watch a certain amount, you get a little bit more. If they watch the entire ad, I think it's something like 33 cents. So a lot more money per watch, but the one ad, it just pops up at the bottom. You don't think twice about it. The big ad that plays beforehand, the pre-roll ad, when that plays, a lot of times you might say, fuck it, this video isn't worth it. You hit skip ad right away and they don't make anything. So it's a possibility of more money, but a lot more likely that you're going to end up just screwing yourself, essentially. So the people who put videos on YouTube, anybody can put a video on YouTube, right? It's not like cable television or AM/FM radio where, you have to get the FCC, you have to get a license, you have to get a station to put you on. It's not like that. You have a video camera, you have a microphone, whatever. Pretty much anybody can make a YouTube video. Anybody can. Anybody with a basic internet connection or even a cell phone you can automatically upload. So there's really no barrier to entry on this market. It's not like, you have to go pitch it to a TV network. You want to make something, as far as you're willing to go and as much as you're willing to put yourself to it, you can put whatever you want up on YouTube, except for obviously you can't put nude people, you can't put porn, you can't put... There's a few things, restrictions, but for the most part, you can upload just about anything you want. And once that video's up there, you can become a YouTube partner, set up an AdSense account, enable monetization. You can put ads that pop up at the bottom or that pre-roll ad, which I think is not as smart, and you can start making money immediately. All you need essentially is a computer and a bank account. You don't need a business license. You don't need anything except for whatever you're going to use to make your video. So if you make a really good video, you put it up, it gets 1 million clicks, right? Now you have options. You can not monetize it at all, and you can just be doing it as a hobby for fun, whatever, don't care about the money. You can put an ad up at the bottom, 1/3 of a penny per click. Easy way to get $3,000 if you can get 1 million click, or that pre-roll ad. Now, what does that pre-roll ad do? It annoys people into where if they don't think your video is quite worth it, it's not quite worth the expense of having to sit and deal with that ad, they might click away from it right away. Or somebody else might go steal your video, upload it on their channel with just the little ad that pops up at the bottom, and you get zero money now, and they get $3,000 from your video. Now, you can go and report that, but there's so many YouTube videos, a lot of people are getting away with doing this. And I think this is, in a way, a good thing. One, if you're somebody who doesn't care about the money, you have an advertisement or something you made yourself on YouTube, you want as many people uploading that as you can. You don't care if they take it. If you put too high of a price on your video, like, say, for example, putting that pre-roll ad on it that annoys people, one, people might not find the value in it, might give up, or they might go to somebody else's, and the people watching it don't care. Do you care who uploaded a video when you watch a movie while it's still in theaters from somebody's handy cam that they snuck into the theater? We all do it, let's not lie. And when you do, you don't care about the end financials, you just care about getting the product. So people will do that to you. And so you can't carry as much weight on intellectual property because anybody can potentially steal your intellectual property if you're not bringing it to the market at a reasonable enough value. So right there, ultra free market, you have intellectual property, not completely, but very much out the window. So if you make something but you want way too much, or it's either not going to happen at all or somebody's going to steal it. No barriers to entry. Anybody can enter this market. So let's look at it from the advertiser's point of view, right? The person who puts an ad up on YouTube, like that pre-roll or that little lower third one, it's insanely inexpensive. We've messed around with it at themediaspeaks.com, and you're talking about you can do a pretty decent ad campaign for $100 to where I'm not even going to look up how much it's going to cost to get a commercial on TV. You can get a commercial on YouTube, which more people watch more videos on YouTube, I guarantee you, in most demographics. And then you can really narrow it down. If you buy a TV commercial, which is outrageously overpriced, it just pretty much plays to everybody within whatever area that you've purchased it for. With a YouTube ad, you can say, hey, I only want people who live in this town, and I want people who are searching for topics related to my product. So you get a lot more direct targeting. You get a lot more for your dollar, which is a lot less money. You're paying, maybe at the most $1 per view. Usually quite a bit less than that, and you're getting direct targeted. Somebody searching for, how do I build a shed? And then boom, your commercial for your shed store, Bill's Shed Store, pops up on his YouTubes, and it's a lot easier to advertise, a lot cheaper, and it really opens up the market. And those advertisers are the ones who are paying for your YouTube enjoyment, the way that TV was supposed to be originally. You watch a video, the person who made it gets paid, the advertiser gets their product out there. No barriers to entry, everybody can do it, everybody can participate. That's awesome. What else do I have here? Anybody can advertise. Now, What are the differences between that and what we know as a standard free market in this country? Well, in this country, we claim to have a free market. You have to pay taxes to get anything exported, imported. You have to get licenses for the type of business that you have, for the type of work that you're going to be doing. You need everything to be inspected and approved. The average barrier to entry, I mean, if you want to go open up a restaurant, it's not like you can just go buy a building and start making food. You have to go through all these loopholes, things that it's really easy for a giant company like McDonald's or Burger King to just, they got one guy who handles that for all the stores or for 500 stores. They can pay that guy $100,000 to manage 500 stores, where you yourself are going to have to pay that same $100,000 to open your one store, or preoccupy yourself with the opening of the store and not the quality of the store and what products or services you're going to provide. So there's all of that off the table with the way YouTube's doing it. You want an ad up? Give us a little bit of money. You want to put up some content? Give us some information, and you're on. You're done. It's started. So you can see the difference already just between our free market and a truly free market. At least for now, until, they're always changing shit with Google and YouTube. But as it stands right now, is a much, much more free system than what we have already. So how is that transferring over, or has it been transferred over? Because I'm not saying YouTube was the first, but how are we seeing that similar effect in other markets? So the next thing that I want to talk about that is really going to change the economy, in my opinion, is cryptocurrency. I'm a big fan of Dogecoin. It's fun. Who knows? It might go up in value. Most people are more familiar with Bitcoin. Now, the basic way that a cryptocurrency works, and they're all a little bit different and have different rules, they all have a ledger. And on this ledger, every single transaction gets recorded. So if you give Dogecoin to a friend, if you withdraw from one account to another, if you buy Dogecoin, that all goes onto the ledger, which is kind of shared by a person-to-person network, which keeps it all. There's no central unit where all this information is stored. It's stored everywhere in a cloud computing type way. So that ledger is monitored by the community. Anybody on the community can view it. Everybody kind of helps keep that up. Now, the value comes from two things with cryptocurrency. The first thing that value comes from is obviously popularity. If nobody's interested in it, nobody's going to use it, it doesn't have any value. So with popularity, it's the mining process. And the way the average mining process goes and how it goes for Bitcoin is every time a coin is mined, which it's mined by you grabbing some code, your computer, and my understanding of it, and I might be getting this wrong, is that your computer has to figure out a math algorithm. Whoever figures out the algorithm first, whoever has the most powerful computer, essentially, they win the coin. And as more and more coins are mined, the math algorithms get harder and harder and harder. Now, I can see this in the future being an easy way to stabilize a currency. Currency is matched against demand, population, and amount of coins that exist in the market. Now, it's not like having a Federal Reserve or a central bank that can hyperinflate the money and your savings is worth nothing. But as the algorithms get harder, the computers get more powerful, so they can handle more and more, which kind of makes the flow of new coins directly correlated to improvements within the technology market. So I think that's really cool. And then the amount of demand by the amount of people who decide to take up mining. Because if you people take up mining generally when coins go up in value. So the higher the value, the more mining, the more coins. It has a way, I believe, of balancing out its own value. Now, cryptocurrencies do have some issues, but some of the great things that they have is it's relatively untraceable, at least compared. It isn't untraceable, but compared to a debit card or anything. Essentially, the only way to connect your wallet to your personal identity is if you do it yourself, like posting something that says, "My name is so and so, and here's my wallet address." But a lot more inconspicuous, a lot more easy to evade unlawful taxes. And it's a lot more easy to evade the federal government, which means a lot of things, obviously, that are illegal are starting to go towards cryptocurrency. You can buy prostitutes and drugs with cryptocurrency now. But the reason for that, obviously, is because it's easier to do it's easier to do unregulated. So just like YouTube has deregulated the market between entertainment videos and the consumer compared to TV and radio, I think cryptocurrency will do that same thing by pulling us away from the controls of currency and letting the currency flow naturally. And this currency, the more popular it gets, the more places it'll be used. So I think cryptocurrency is going to play a big part into this new economy. Maybe not Bitcoin, maybe not Dogecoin, maybe some new coin that somebody comes up with that's even better and has even higher qualities. But that is definitely going to affect the market. And the market's already been affected by this digital technology just in retail stores. If you walk into a retail store, how many of us now, you needed something, you went to the store that sold it, and you pretty much paid whatever they were asking for. Now, if you go to Best Buy today, and I'm amazed that company's still in business, because unless I needed something that day right now, I would never buy it from Best Buy. Go into Best Buy and just start searching product numbers and product names. Everything in there you can get for substantially cheaper online. Why? Because of Amazon. And Amazon has created this exact same free market, no barrier to enter market, just like eBay has. So when you go on to Amazon, why are the prices so cheap? Because let's say that you're looking up a vacuum and there's a store that sells that vacuum that's selling it on Amazon. There's a guy who just bought a new vacuum and he's selling his old one used. And then there's, say, me, and I just bought a warehouse in an auction and it has 500 of these fucking vacuums and I want them gone, but hey, why not make a little bit of money? So those two people are trying to make a profit off theirs. I'm just trying to get rid of mine. I can put up my vacuums on Amazon for half the price of everybody else. Now, when you go and search for that vacuum, the first price that comes up and the first buyer for you to buy from is going to be me because I have the cheapest price, assuming that I have a good seller rating. So just right there, some random person getting something for a lower cost, somebody being able to manufacture something cheaper, instantly affects the market price on Amazon.com. So obviously, everybody buys everything expensive on Amazon.com. So by doing that, again, same thing as YouTube. There's no barrier to entry. Anybody can go on Amazon.com and sell stuff. I know people who buy books used on Amazon, and then they return them to their college at a book buyback at the end of the year, and they actually get more money than they paid for the books, which usually it's the opposite. You buy the book for $400, they give you $10. I know people paying $2 for their book, getting $10 at the end of the year because of Amazon.com. So it corrects itself as a market. It doesn't have the same intellectual property theft kind of contributing to the balancing of the market, but the fact that there's really no barrier to entry, anybody can put anything up on Amazon and eBay too. eBay is very much the same thing. It creates a more free market where everybody gets better prices for things. Everybody's allowed to profit easier. You don't have to jump through a ton of loopholes to open a business. You just go online and you start selling. Now, eBay contributes in a second way. eBay allows rip-off products from Hong Kong, China. When you go on, if you want a new iPhone or a new Android phone, and or a tablet, right? You want to get an Android tablet, you go to the store, the cheapest thing you can find that's worth even using is $300. Go on eBay and search Android tablet, and you will find a plethora of rip-off tablets for $100, $200 that are just as powerful and everything. So when a company prices themselves out of the market, and when there's not really a respective intellectual property, like on eBay in a lot of cases, you want, $600 for that iPhone. Well, I can buy this phone on eBay that looks just like an iPhone, can pretty much do all the same stuff, runs Android, has an app store, good reviews, blah, 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 and it's only $50. Well, you just price yourself out of a market. People can't afford your product anymore. They go for the ripoff. They go for the theft of intellectual property, which, again, kind of balances things out. iPhones can only get so expensive before everybody's buying a ripoff from China. So it very much balances the market. And I talked about it a little bit already, but you look at the music industry and movies and how that's been completely destroyed by the internet. With TVs, they've had to change the way that they figure out how long they do a show for. It used to be you do one season of a show on a major network. If it doesn't do good, you're canceled. But now they're figuring out nobody does good in their first season. You have to wait for the second season and find out the Netflix numbers, because everybody watches the first season on Netflix and then they go to watching it on TV once they're out of episodes. So they've completely thrown off the algorithm. With music, look at what happened with Napster. Musicians used to make millions and millions, production companies made millions and millions off of all their albums that you'd buy at Best Buy or Sam Goody or wherever. And that doesn't exist anymore. Nobody's going to pay $20 for a CD when they can just go download it. So what did they do? It's illegal to download, but there's not really much respect for that intellectual property, but potentially you can get in some trouble for it, I guess. So the musicians said, we're going to go to this new network, iTunes, and we're going to let you download the individual songs for 99 cents. Now, a few people, might still go to YouTube or go to some website and download it, but most people say 99 cents, fuck it, here you go, they pay for it, and your product is properly priced now, where it wasn't with the CD, but under a truly free digital market. If it's 99 cents just to buy it from you, you're going to have a lot less people downloading it, as opposed to, I want this one song, this CD's $20, everybody was downloading in the early 2000s. So things like Napster and things like iTunes and YouTube in conjunction with each other have really reform the music industry. And you might say, oh, well, since all these things, musicians make so much less. I don't really think that's true. They make the same money in concerts and all the other things, appearances. And here's the really great part. Anybody can join the music industry now. Anybody can put a song on iTunes. Anybody can put a music video on YouTube. Anybody can go and set up a, what's the website, Reverb Nation page. Anybody can do that. And as much as people might hate this example that I'm about to give, there is proof of concept. Don't even look up Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber was some, 13-year-old kid whose mom recorded him singing on YouTube. Everybody loved it, and now he's a multimillionaire who pisses in mop buckets. So it's opened up, it's taken away the barriers to entry that used to be held by the music companies, the production companies, who, in the end, if you look through history, we're always the ones screwing the musicians anyways, so they got their comeuppance, and now we have a balanced music market. The same thing has happened with movie theaters. I remember 10 years ago, you paid $8 for a movie ticket and maybe 9, maybe 10 even, to sit in some cramped seat surrounded by people that you didn't know, blah, blah, blah. It was good, but, when the internet started having the download speeds to get these movies in DVD quality, a lot more people started downloading. A lot more people would just rather get it from some streaming site and watch it at home. So what did the movie theaters do? My local theater that used to be, I think, $8.50 a ticket 10 years ago, some crummy seat, dirty floor, $10 for a small little thing of popcorn. Now they put in a bar. I think the ticket price is the same, which is amazing considering inflation past 10 years. The ticket price is about the same. They have a bar. You can get a 32-ounce beer, bring it into the movie theater where you sit in a leather recliner that you picked out on a digital touchscreen before you even entered the theater to make sure you were happy with your seats. That all for the same price. Why? Because these intellectual theft websites that stream the movies and allow you to download the movies and watch them at home, they've created a rift. All right, am I going to go to this dirty, cramped theater and pay, probably $50 over the course of the night, or am I going to watch it on my computer or on my TV hooked up to my computer at home? I'm going to do the second one. You keep the price the same, say, hey, we have beer and leather recliners. I don't have a leather recliner, and I don't have a 500-inch screen. I guess I'll go to the theater as opposed to downloading it. So the market has been leveled a lot to where it's a lot. You can't. Intellectual property theft kind of balances the fact that if you're the only one with it, you can't just charge an exorbitant fee for whatever it is you're trying to sell, because somebody will come along and steal it and give it away for cheaper or for free. So it's very, very much of a balancing act. And I think 3D printers, once we have 3D printers, this is going to excel even more so. Because once we have 3D printers, in the same way that, say you want to buy a video editing program and you go, well, Adobe Premiere is like $1 million, Windows Movie Maker isn't that great, I can steal Adobe Premiere, or I can get some sort of cheaper, free in between of the two. Forgot where I was going there. But yeah, so you can kind of get in between. You can get a ripped off version. So in the same way, once 3D printing really takes off and 3D printing gets to the point where, I want a new iPhone and you just buy it online and print it out at your house. Once that happens, it's going to be a lot easier for people to buy rip-off versions because you won't be paying for the product. You'll be paying for the right to print that product, and it'll be a lot more easy to steal that intellectual property, to copy it. It'll open up the market to other people, engineers, software. Well, software, it's already been opened up with open source online, but engineers and people who say, hey, I could design a really cool iPhone. Well, you might go buy, Hank, who built the new fucking Samsung Galaxy on a laptop in his garage, and now you can print it at your house. You might buy that instead, and it'll be a hell of a lot cheaper. So 3D printers are really going to open up these the production market and the retail market already even more than it has now with Amazon.com, and do a lot of similar things to what we've seen happening already with YouTube, cryptocurrency, Amazon, eBay, etc. So I have a little bit of hope for the future economy because it's not going to be based on, it's not going to be based how it is now. They're not going to be able to exist, these giant monopoly and how do you say it, oligopoly companies like the cable networks and the phone companies. They won't be able to do that anymore because everything will be much, much more open source, and the currency will be based on need. It won't be based on greed, which I know a lot of, greed, now you're shitting on capitalism, and I'm not. I think that greed is good, but greed shouldn't be what decides the value of our dollar. We need something a little bit more consistent. I think cryptocurrency will answer that. Everything being open source, there will be no more barriers to entry, and everybody will be on a truly equal playing field, which is what a real free market is about. A truly free, sink or swim free market where I think under this new system that I really think you already see happening in the next 50, 60 years, our economy is going to be very different than it is now. And I don't think it's going to be sink or swim. I think it's going to be do or die, in the sense that, everybody's going to be able to make it a lot easier. It's going to be more about doing something as opposed to even quality of what you do. And I think that's a very interesting future of the economy. I'd love to see if anybody has any comments or if they think anything, maybe agree with me, disagree, have anything to add. But that's what I see for the future of the economy. So thanks for watching. Tune in to our live shows every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central on themediaspeaks.com, on this YouTube channel, TMS Live, where we all come together. Me, D-Lake, Welcome to the War, Sam DeGanji, The Correct Views. I do TMS Trends. We all come together once a week, talk about everything. So like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at The Media Speaks, The Media Speaks on Facebook, and themediaspeaks.com.